Well, and I feel like that phrase has been replaced with, it's the Dark Souls of Blink.
Oh my god. This podcast is the Dark Souls of being shitty.
Wait, what?
I don't know what it means. That's just my point, is that people say it's the Dark Souls of whatever.
We have to be demanding and precise.
It doesn't have to make sense. People just make the comparison that anything is like Dark Souls. That's all I'm saying. I proved my point. Hello, all you mugmen and cupheads. Welcome to the Nintendo Everything Podcast, episode 21. I am your host, Onidino, and with me I have the 8th playable character in Cuphead. We call him Kegman. It's Galen.
I imagine Kegman just like, he walks around and then all of a sudden he flips on his head and just keeps on walking, and then he flips back around and then he throws ping pongs at you.
I have a bit of a different complex about it. He's like constantly like leaking the liquid, his beer or whatever, and he's just freaking out like, oh my god. But you know, I could be projecting. I could be projecting my own anxiety right there.
Or you can take the alternate cartoony version where it's basically Duffman. Kegman can't breathe. Oh no.
That joke is for fewer people than we probably think.
Probably. Is that show even on anymore?
It is, but
how?
That's for a different podcast. There's a podcast called like Talkin' Simpsons or something like that. I don't know. I heard it's pretty good. But hey, you're not there for that, or here for this. Wait, hold on. Welcome, Nintendo. Everyone listening. Woof. So this past week, Galen, there was the very, very prominent Nindies Showcase. What's it actually called? Let me do a little clicking. Right, unless you know. Nindies Showcase Spring 2019.
Exactly.
And it was pretty awesome. So we're going to be talking about all that. There was also just before, well, I shouldn't say just before. I just saw it just before this podcast. There was the Nintendo Labo VR kit gameplay trailer. And it was pretty long, pretty meaty too, like 7 minutes long. I had to rewatch it a couple of times. Lots of stuff to talk about there. So, Shall we jump right in? Should we put on the VR goggles of podcasting? That doesn't make sense.
I have a feeling that would just make people motion sick if we like. Can you do a VR podcast?
Oh, so therefore it's
little
trendy.
Cardboard people for us.
Actually, I'd be about that. Someone make cardboard people of us, please. Just before we jump into things, a quick reminder to all of our new listeners that this is a weekly show. Episodes go up every Sunday in the States, bright and early. You can check us out on YouTube, Stitcher, Pocket Casts, Spotify, iTunes, and a whole bunch of other crap that I can't remember. We're pretty much everywhere. Wherever the hell you listen to podcasts, we're there.
I feel like that list grows every time we make this announcement.
It does. I keep trying to do everything. So let's not waste any more of the people's time. Let's go. So Galen, this week I've been pretty busy. Wouldn't you say the same about yourself?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have gotten some video gaming in. A lot of what I've been playing though is just Tetris 99 and Smash Bros.
Solid.
They've really become the staple of what I kind of go to when I only have like maybe 15 to 30 minutes to actually sit down with a game.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of the Switch too, right? Is that you can do that really quickly. Like you can do that with any console, honestly. There's nothing holding you back, but just the portable nature of the Switch really lends itself to that.
I 100% agree with you, but also the thing that I like about the Switch and the way that I've been using it has actually been attributed to the same way that I would use the Wii U, where if, like, my wife is watching some Netflix or something like that, I can be like, you go ahead and watch that, and I'm going to go ahead and do some smashing.
Yeah, go ahead and watch Terrace House. I'm going to play my video games.
Hey, to be fair, Terrace House is pretty enticing.
No, to be fair, both of them are total nerd things.
Personally, I was a bigger fan of Love Wagon when that was on Netflix. That's just me. I digress.
I've heard that both of those are extremely edible garbage.
But it's the best kind of edible garbage.
That's what I'm saying. I could make a Seinfeld joke right here, but that's for like 2 listeners.
I really hope that my wife skips this one, because you bad-mouthing Tara's house, she's probably going to, like, unsubscribe. Just saying.
Hey, girl!
So, Oni, what have you been playing?
I have been super busy. I usually try not to talk about personal stuff very much, but I had a friend's wedding this week, so lots of prep for that, lots of partying. Barely got any gaming in, but... Is that a wedding to you? Is that what it is?
Some weddings?
Anyway, video games. Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon. Stop it. You don't embarrass me. Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon. Everybody came out, picked it up at the store. I love the little cover art with the cute little chocobo. He's like... That's one of my favorite iterations of chocobos, is when he's like super cute and he's got the big eyes and big beak and he's like, I don't know, chubby almost. It's super cute.
You know, it's interesting because for me, I have not been able to find this game in stores. Like, it's on the virtual market, you can pick it up there, but I haven't been able to find like a physical copy yet.
I think that in North America, it is not physical. It's only digital, I think.
That actually makes me really sad.
Yeah, right? It's kind of weird how like some territories have physical releases of some games and some not.
Yeah. But, you know, at least I have a way to play it, so that's
yeah,
the
of course. And they are also releasing that game. It's, I think, $40 US, so it's, you know, it's not a full price game. That's nice. It's a concession.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just started up a little bit, just played through the tutorial thing. I have played this game back on the Wii when it was called, oh god, what was it called?
I'm pretty sure it was Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon.
Cool, thanks. Wow. What a bro.
That's why they call me Kegman.
Oh man, I hope that sticks. I like it.
Kegman sounds like the worst Mega Man villain.
And there's some bad ones.
And it's like, I don't even want to beat that guy because I don't want whatever powers he gives me.
So I started it up a little bit, Chocobo's Dungeon, and it is bringing back a lot of memories because I forgot what that game was and what the experience was back on the Wii. I just remember the feeling of it. This actually comes back to what I was talking about in the last week's episode of the podcast, where I remember feelings that I have during the game. I might not remember the story or what actually happens or anything like that. Even for games I've played a bunch, I just remember the feelings. So yeah. I'm getting the same feelings coming back as I'm playing, and I'm like, oh, this is nice. I forgot, this is a really fun game. And there's like some mystery elements to it too, and I'm just excited to actually get back into it.
I'm kind of the same way. I remember I got my hands on a copy of this, and I was really liking the game, and then something happened and I couldn't actually finish the game. Yeah, I'm very excited to be able to get another crack at this one.
Yes, you should. Let's talk about Nintendo Labo number 4, Toy-Con. Wow, there's a lot of words to it. Don't remember the order. VR kit. It goes back to my frustration with like wordy titles.
Super ultra
Mega.
Super ultra VR.
Wait, we can't do that. That will genuinely confuse people. No, don't do it. Don't. Toy-Con number 4 VR kit. We got a video on Nintendo's official YouTube channel where they showed off, and it's kind of like previous Labo introductions where they have like sort of a scene that they're setting and they're trying to show, I don't know, it feels like a TV show or a movie or like a trailer for something, and it's cute, it's endearing, I think. So it starts off and there's like a kid and he's in his room and he's got, I don't know if you noticed, I just happened to notice because I had it like freeze framed, he's got a whole bunch of creative tools. Like it looks like he's got some paint cans and he's got markers and like measuring tape and stuff on his big desk that he has in his bedroom. So clearly they're trying to be like, this is a creative kid, whether he's an engineering or artistic avenue of creativity. This is a creative, oh my Jesus. This is a creative kid, and that's whom we are targeting with Labo.
Yeah.
And we saw gameplay and also physical construction of a whole bunch of the aspects of this new VR kit. I have to say, before we even go into it, Nintendo is doing a much better job with their marketing and explaining to their audience what the hell they're trying to sell people.
No, absolutely. And I really liked how they actually showed this in action. Like, they, without even directly talking about it, they answered a lot of the questions that I had. Just everything from how do the games play to how does the actual construction of the unit work. Like, one of the big things that I was really worried about was how are you going to make sure your Switch doesn't fly out of the cardboard that you're making?
Yeah, because the Switch isn't like a paper light, but it isn't also heavy as well, so yeah.
No, and there's they've actually considered that, and they've put in a locking mechanisms, if you will, built into it to kind of keep everything stable and together. And they've also made it so that anytime you're holding it, it's never attached to your face in any way.
Yeah.
You're physically holding it, so you always have hands on the system in one way or another, which I like. I think that's a very smart way to go about it.
Yeah, I do too. So VR is interesting, right? Like, just in general, the concept of VR, the way that you put it on your head is different depending on the device and depending on the situation. So the PlayStation VR is different than the HTC Vive, isn't that what it's called?
Oh, yeah.
And then that's different from VR arcades.
Okay. I haven't actually been to any of those VR arcades yet, so.
I don't know if there are any in North America. There must be, right?
I think there are. I think they're slowly starting to, grow, but they haven't really, caught on.
Okay. We did hear that, speaking of this, boy, this is really... I hope you all of you listeners enjoy no structure, because this podcast in particular has no structure today. So sorry. We did hear that the Mario Kart VR is going to go west.
Really?
I'm pretty sure we heard that.
Nice.
So I'm pretty sure that people in the West can enjoy that soon.
I'm excited.
Honestly, really, really fun. It's my favorite VR experience that I've ever had. And I'm not super into VR, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but yeah, Mario Kart VR is really fun. When you get to look at everybody and you got stuff on your hands, so you can, grab items and stuff, but you as the character can look over at your partner and they're playing, but they're the character, right? So I can look over at Luigi and give him the finger kind of thing.
Oh, that's so much fun.
Yeah.
That's so much fun. When I have the option of choosing a Mario character to play as in Mario Kart, Mario Party, whatever, I usually kind of gravitate towards Luigi, personally.
Yeah, you do.
Except for this most recent one, because Monty Mole is my bae.
Yeah. Actually, I really like that they've been including kind of different characters in their games. Like the Mario Tennis one had what are those called? Those Sprixies, I think they're called. Is that the right word? That sounds so weird. The characters that were basically in Mario 2, Mario USA, and then they came back in 3D World. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Little fairy guys.
Yeah.
So those are in there. Paulina's in there. Yeah, I like that they've been including... And Boomer, isn't that his name?
I think so, yeah.
But Bam Bam, whatever the hell his name is. Yeah, it's good. I like that. Okay, so... knocking all that off the table. Going back to freaking VR. Yeah, they have these goggle things that are quite interesting, and they have very clearly some sort of lens thing that's going on. You can see on the actual Switch console itself, there's a lens-esque viewing I don't know, viewpoint that you're seeing it through. It's really intelligently designed, I think.
Yeah, this is the exact same kind of setup that we saw with Google Cardboard. And it's smart that Nintendo is actually taking this, because beforehand, when Google Cardboard came out, there were a lot of factors that kind of went into it. You had to question the aspect ratio of the screen that you actually had. Do you have a screen that is 720p or 1080p? And what is your physical screen size? There were a lot of factors because there were so many different phones out there. The idea of Google Cardboard never really kind of caught on the way that it should have, because there were too many variables.
Yeah, so that's sort of with mobile and PC gaming, there's so many variables, right? And that's
Mhm.
that's both a bane and a boon. Whereas with a console experience, there are way fewer variables, so you can develop
Exactly.
and you can sort of hone whatever experience you want to give your audience.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, Nintendo can get around the, having a lower quality. I think it's like 720p is what's actually on the console itself when you're playing it in handheld mode. It's getting around that because you know what the screen size is. You know what the aspect ratio is going forward. So you can actually create the lenses themselves to properly refract the light in the images in a way to kind of cover up some of those smaller imperfections and stuff.
I thought you were trying to say reflect and you couldn't figure out your L's and your R's. For me, I am interested to see how this actually looks in person. I'm still not sold on it because I'm not informed about, really have no idea about it, so we'll see.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm happy to have been wrong from the last episode when we were talking about whether or not they were going to come out with the actual gameplay to it, because the gameplay that they have shown is pretty impressive, and they have 64 different mini games that you can choose from.
Oh yeah, that was quite a surprise, wasn't it?
Well, and it also gives the assumption that you need to have the cardboard peripherals to play some of those. So if you want to play Not Flappy Birds, you have to have the Not Flappy Bird cardboard.
I didn't make that connection at all with the bird.
Well, you make a cardboard bird and you flap them, and it's nothing like the game Flappy Bird. So yeah, it's not Flappy Birds.
Yeah, they also showed off a sort of hungry hippos kind of thing.
I'm down for that. I will feed those hippos for days.
They also showed off some sort of jumping thing where you play as a cool looking frog.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, the mini games that they've created are very creative in a Mario Party sense, where you're okay, yeah, the thing is you jump, or the thing is you fly or shoot. But it's very, very intelligently done, I think.
A lot of the games and a lot of the mini games that they have on there are very tech demo-esque.
Yes.
It actually reminds me a lot of what they did when they came out with Nintendo Land for the
Wii U.
Because here's a bunch of fun games. Yes, we're making a game out of this, but the more important thing is it's showing you the concept and the potential of what can be done.
Yeah, and on that note, they also showed off the garage, they call it. That's also going to be included in this VR kit, where you
Very happy that they included that.
Me too. It helps to push Labo's creativity. So for those of you who don't know what the garage thing is, it's basically a light version of development. They kind of give you a selection of tools of here you can create a whole bunch of if-then situations, and then you can create your own VR experience through that. Every Labo kit, I think, thus far, or at least most of them, have had the garage in it where you can create your own game or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is that you want to make. From a developer standpoint, kind of looking at this, it's really smart on what they did, because they basically just made object-oriented programming.
Yeah.
So you don't need to know coding. You don't need to know, C++ or HTML or Java. You don't need to know any of that stuff. It's simply, here's an item. If this item does this, this happens. But yeah, I mean, this is so smart. And because you're really gearing this towards children, those are the perfect kind of minds to take that first step into this kind of thinking, and then expanding on those creation in that logical flow and how to combine those two elements together.
So yeah, actually, on that note, I have two things to say. One, this doesn't feel as for kids as I thought it would after seeing this. Yeah, really. After seeing this long extended trailer, 7 minutes long, I was damn, I'm into this. I totally went from this is a cool thing for kids, and yeah, I like Labo. It's fostering creativity and helping kids to sort of discover their possible potential, And
yeah.
So I went from that to, I think I'm gonna pick this up. Like, this honestly looks really fun, and I'm not into VR.
Are you going to go for just the blaster, or are you going to go for the whole, like, package including the elephant?
Listen, the whole package, okay? That's what I'm into.
Can we just take a minute to talk about that elephant minigame, though?
Yes, it's related. It's related to the whole package, yes.
No, I just think it's really funny that they have the 3D creation kit with the elephant face that you can actually use it to paint and sculpt in a 3D landscape.
Yes!
I can't take credit for this joke because I heard it from somewhere else, but I love the idea of them just kind of looking over at Sony being like, we've got this massive dream. You can make anything you want to. And Nintendo's like, here, hold my cardboard. I got this.
Yeah. I think people are sort of warming up to the idea, like, because it's so easy to make a dig on Labo and be like, it's cardboard, you know? But yeah. I think people are sort of warming up to the idea of this because they're seeing the creative potential in this. And people that Labo is not for or not aimed at, I think they're finally over themselves and their opinions. Yeah. Labo's getting an even better reception, I think, than before, which is cool.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that a lot of people are kind of talking positively about this. I know that they had a couple of people come out to their area and like actually test everything out like in person, and a lot of the feedback that people are getting from it are pretty positive.
Oh, where's that? GDC?
I think it was more of like a personal thing where they were bringing in like YouTube celebrities and people like that to like test things out.
The influencers.
Exactly.
God, that is so. I don't. Another time, everyone. But dial it back to the art thing, where you can create your own art, and I'm like, wow, that's great, because it reminded me a bit of another VR experience I saw 3 years ago or so at a convention. I don't remember where it was at. I think it was in Detroit, and my friend tried it out, and I could watch it on the screen, and he was just kind of creating 3D art and moving around, and I was like, this is really, really cool, really creative, and I'm glad that they did the same kind of thing with Labo.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited about this entire VR setup, and I'm kind of right there with you. Like, I'm actually thinking maybe I'll pick this up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna pick this up. This has a lot of stuff in it as well, and I think that this whole package of Labo is around $70 US, right? I don't quite remember. So it's around there somewhere, but you can also pick it up in little pieces. We confirmed the prices like I think last week or maybe 2 weeks ago on the podcast.
Yeah.
So probably some listeners are screaming at us right now. But anyway, it's there. So my point is that it's pretty fair pricing for what you're getting, and there's a lot more in the software than I thought there was.
Yeah, this is a pretty cool complete package.
Speaking of which, the Toy-Con camera that they showed off, because there's like a bajillion different things in this, you're sort of voyeuristically looking at this hideous, disgusting, gross creature that the announcer actually refers to as like cute, and I'm like, oh, it's a nightmare! It has a face, and its face is its mouth, and it like totally vores this strawberry, and I'm like, oh, it's so gross, man. I hate it.
Kill it with all of the fire.
Yeah, we don't want this thing to reproduce, you know what I'm saying? Ooh, one last thing I wanted to say about Labo is that in the last like sort of splash of a bunch of different things that you can do with the VR kit, they showed real footage of somebody feeding the deer at the Nara Park in Japan, where, you know, the deer, probably you've seen this on the internet, the deer come right up to you, you feed them like little crackers, and they hang out in that town, and you have to watch out. You can't drive very fast or anything, and they're just chilling out.
Because the deer are everywhere.
Yeah, they'll attack you. They'll be like, listen, you have food, you are human, give me food. But anyway, they showed that in the Labo thing, and I'm thinking, oh, can you put your own videos in there, or is that like just a preset video that they put together?
I think that's a pre-rendered thing that they put in there.
So I'm interested to check that out, because wow, will I not feed those deer? Like, cool idea, but that deer is gonna like eat me a little bit to try and get my food. It's not cute to me at all to feed those deer.
I would feed the deer.
It's just a beast that wants to survive. That's all it is. So now with Labo VR Kit, I can live that experience without having to get pooped on by a deer.
You can virtually not feed the deer.
I can be virtually pooped on. Oh, no, we're not talking about that. Nope. VR is bad. VR is a mistake. Shut it down.
And you've discovered the dark web.
Dreadful!
So the big news for this week is the Nindies Showcase Spring 2019. Nintendo put this up on their YouTube channel just a few days ago. I think it was March 20th, maybe. And they came right out the gate with this weird, like, old-timey thing.
It was like some weird pouring milk PSA, and it made me uncomfortable.
Yeah. At first I was like, oh god, Nintendo, what are you doing with your marketing? And then like maybe 15 seconds into it, I was like, wait, no, this is a bit for a game. Okay, that's fine. And then it like went on just a little bit too long, and I was like, can I just see the game? Like, this is weird. And then it was Cuphead, and I was like, oh, damn, all those rumors were right. So Cuphead is coming to the Nintendo Switch, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for this one because this was like a game that I would actually pick up an Xbox for. So now I don't have to, which is great because that thing would go, after I played Cuphead, it would go right into a bag because I already have a PS4. So, you know, this generation, it doesn't make too much sense to own both of those consoles as opposed to last generation. Anyway, Cuphead, Nintendo Switch.
Also, actually, no, I want to kind of go back on this because I wanted to point out something during the introduction and when they were actually talking about it. After they revealed that, hey, this is Cuphead, they made a point to say the words, our friends at Microsoft partnered with us.
Oh,
blah,
yeah.
blah, blah, blah. But that whole thing of friends at Microsoft, especially with all of the deliberation between the two that have been going on with like Xbox Live, like I feel like this is huge.
Yeah. I like this. I just like to see, at least so far, there's surely, I mean, it's all about money, right? So maybe something bad can come of this.
The irony of the fact that the game is all about a deal with the devil and now Microsoft is involved.
Oh,
not lost on me.
That's really good. That's a good comparison to draw. But rather than companies seeing each other as like rivals, they're sort of, they have like a friendly rivalry kind of going on. And especially someone like Sony and Nintendo or Microsoft and Nintendo, that makes more sense because they're not in direct competition so much. And especially with Microsoft, I think they are much more friendly rivals than Sony because especially with Microsoft being in like a sort of clear third place at the moment, this generation at least.
Yeah.
It makes sense to do this.
Well, and this kind of goes with what I was saying before about this like strange tonal shift that we are getting when it comes to I'm going to say the big three when it comes to like video game console developers. I mean, we're seeing the collaborating message at the beginning of the Video Game Awards earlier this year.
Oh, right.
All this talk about wanting to branch out their IPs and spread their IPs around and being able to expand into new areas from Nintendo. Microsoft wanting to bring Xbox Live to other platforms, including the Switch. Google having rumors on wanting to do something and making the Switch controllers compatible for like their gaming avenues. Like there is so much connectivity and sharing of ideas that are coming around that this is a very interesting time to see how these kind of things are evolving.
Yeah, I love the video game industry as a business because it is such a young industry. I've said this a bajillion times. Sorry for repeating myself, everybody, but it's fascinating. It's such a big industry for how young it is, and it changes on a dime.
So yeah, going back to Cuphead, we can talk more about this later.
Yeah. Let's talk about Cuphead.
Yeah.
Have you played that game at all on Windows or the what's that called? Microsoft Xbox? Jesus.
I don't have an Xbox myself personally, so I have not gotten a chance to play this game. I have seen everybody and their mother played it because when this game came out, it was like all that was streaming on any like Let's Play platform that I could see.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah, and the game still is huge. We do not see the kind of games that require the amount of precision and dedication to memorizing boss patterns that this game does. And I absolutely hate the phrase, this is the Dark Souls of action platformers, or whatever it is that you want to call it. I hate that phrase.
Yeah.
I hate that phrase. But
shut up.
If you think about it, it almost kind of applies in this situation.
No!
Because of the amount of her attention to detail that you need.
No! My God. I don't dislike Dark Souls by any means. I dislike people being like, oh, have you tried out the new Mario game? It's kind of like Dark Souls. Like, freaking not everything is Dark Souls.
Dark Souls isn't even that hard.
Yeah, right, because it's about, like, recognizing patterns and being able to act under pressure kind of thing.
Yeah, it's more about patience, timing, and knowing your enemy's patterns. And,
of course, Dark Souls and Demon Souls, they didn't invent. Boy,
invent.
How does my brain work with languages? It's weird. I go for a sound and then I hope the right word comes out. Stupid. Anyway, they didn't invent those gameplay mechanics by any means. I was just actually about to bring up that exact gameplay mechanic of recognizing patterns and try again. And that is such an old school mechanic that you would get from games from the NES and before. Because it kind of came with hardware limitations where it's like, okay, well, we can only program these many patterns, and so you just have to learn the patterns and that kind of thing. And it just kind of stuck because it's like a very methodical way of problem solving, which is what a lot of video games are in an abstract way, is problem solving, even though you're having fun and you're shooting or you're fighting or whatever. And that's exactly what Cuphead brings to the video game scene. And I think that is great.
So when I was younger, we used to refer to games that were very difficult and very demanding on its precision as NES hard.
Oh God! Don't even. When I was younger, we used to.
When
call
I
it
was
NES
a young
hard.
lad.
Like, people say that. Everyone says that.
Well, and I feel like that phrase has been replaced with, it's the Dark Souls of blank.
Oh my God! This podcast is the Dark Souls of being shitty.
Wait, what?
I don't know what it means. That's just my point, is that people say it's the Dark Souls of whatever.
That means we have to be demanding and precise.
It doesn't have to make sense. People just make the comparison that anything is like Dark Souls. That's all I'm saying. I proved my point.
Praise the sun.
So anyway, Cuphead, perfect fit for the Nintendo Switch. I'm sure this is going to sell bonkers crazy.
Absolutely.
I'm buying it.
We forgot to mention launch day April 18th, and you can pre-order it now.
Nice. And then there was a big old slew of games that they announced throughout the entire. It was very well paced. It was like a 25-minute show, and they announced, God, I don't know, 18 games. Thank you. What a bro.
Yep. I'm your translator.
We're not going to talk about all of them, but Galen, what are some games, moving through sort of a chronological order, that you liked?
So going down the list, and I'm going to just start reading these. After they started talking about Cuphead, they went over Overland, which is kind of a apocalyptic squad-based / turn-based RTS, which is like XCOM meets Fallout, and that seems pretty cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like Dark Souls.
Oh God, there's the title. The Dark Souls of Nindies.
Oh God.
Yeah, there's survival elements, there's randomly generated levels. I mean, I think they refer to it as another like roguelike simulator, in the sense where every time you play the game, it's a different experience. So definitely interested in that game. I'm always down for a good turn-based RTS.
Me too.
After that, they went over to My Friend Pedro.
Yeah, it looks really, really good.
It looks fun.
It's weird.
What was the game? It's so weird. What was the, I want to say it's Hotline Miami, where it was just senseless action in all of the right ways, because it presents itself in a way of, hey, don't take any of this seriously. We know we're being absolutely ridiculous, but have fun anyway.
Right. To describe what this game is, if you haven't seen the presentation yet, it is a 2.5D, what do I want to say, like action platformer. And there's weird humor in it and very wacky, intentionally action.
you have this imaginary friend who is a banana named Pedro who helps you with your special abilities. Important thing I want to point out on this one is they said this one was a console exclusive.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So I'm definitely appreciative of that. Anything that the Switch can say, hey, this is one of the things that we got, I'm always down for. And this game looks cool. Plus, it's Devolver Digital.
I know. Anything they publish.
80% of the games that they've come out with have been amazing.
I know. So like anything that they publish, I'm always like, I'll just buy it. Like I trust the quality of games. You know what I mean? Like same thing with like.
No, absolutely.
There's very few developers, publishers, or whatever where you can trust just their name by quality alone. Yeah.
But yeah,
it's really wacky. You're jumping around. There's like witch time happening all over the place where it's slow-mo and you're shooting and spinning and stuff, but the inputs are probably just based on like the action that's happening. The inputs are very simple, I'm going to guess, which is great and accessible for people. So I really look forward to this game because it's so weird. I like to support weird.
I'm all for weird action games. This one comes out in June, so this one again is not too far away. This is pretty close.
I like that.
And most of the games that they were talking about were relatively close. I think the furthest one that we've seen so far is Overland, which comes out this fall. So, going down the list, next one they had up was NeoCab, which it looks fun. I kind of feel like because it's so narrative driven and you are, I wrote down here, cyberpunk rideshare simulator.
Emotional cyberpunk rideshare simulator. Yeah.
This one interests me because I was such a fan of the Phoenix Wright games.
Oh,
I can understand how sucked into a narrative can speak for the gameplay on itself.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll get this one, but I really like how unique it is.
It looks pretty fun. I feel like the narrative is going to be very interesting, and I kind of foresee some like interesting choices you have to make with picking up the different people. And yeah, that one comes out this summer. Next up on the list is Red Lantern, which I refuse to play this game right now. I'm going to tell you because
you might have to eat a dog.
Yeah, I'm going to lose a dog, and I'm going to just be devastated for like a week and a half. I'm going to be like, I can't pick this game up again.
Galen has a bleeding heart when it comes to dogs.
I love my doggos. Yeah, so this game is all about this person who had some sort of big disappointment or failure in her life, and she decides to gather a team of dogs to enter into the Iditarod. The way that it was portrayed is super narrative and super... It seemed special when I was listening to it because there was a lot of emotion and a lot of good writing behind how the character was like telling her story and introducing her story. And when I saw that part where the bear attacks at the end of the trailer and the dog jumps in the way and then you're trying to stab at the same time, and there's that, ambiguity of did I stab the bear or did I stab the dog? Like, that was the point. I was like, nope, can't do it.
Yeah, it was really well done, though.
No, in all seriousness, this game looks super intense, but in the best of ways. After that, we've got Darkwood. And, Oni, you were talking about this one with me a little bit before the podcast, right?
Yeah. So a channel that I really love that is now disbanded, the Super Best Friends, they played this a couple of years back for sure, and it really intrigued me because it's like a spooky survival game that has a lot of mystery to it as well, and that sort of hits all of the right beats with me, where it's like, I want to push forward because I'm wondering what is going on in this world. Like, something is going on that I can't quite tell, and when I saw it, I thought, man, if this ever comes to the Switch, I think I would get this, and it just is. Now it is. Like, all the great indies are becoming Nindies by coming to the Switch, and I just love it.
Yeah, I've been noticing that too, and I'm really appreciating, because a lot of these indie games, like, I just didn't have time for because my PC was down or I didn't have the access to, like, download it at the time in place of something else. And I feel like this is the second chance to experience some really awesome stuff.
Now you can buy it on your Switch and not have time to play it there, too.
Hey, but at least I can carry it around with me, so I have even less than an excuse not to play it. I wrote down here, it is a survive the night base building game.
Yes.
From a top-down perspective. So a lot of going around and reinforcing your area before the waves of enemies start to come in. So I like this. That's pretty cool. This one is another one that comes out really close. It comes out in May.
And then next after that is a game that I hear everybody pretty excited for, Katana Zero.
Yes. The masochistic part of me is just going, you're getting this game. You're buying it.
Yeah, exactly. It is another 2D action platformer game.
Made by Devolver Digital.
At least published by them. I don't think it's made by them.
Oh, yeah.
So it's similar to My Friend Pedro in that regard. I'm buying both of those games. You play as a, I don't know, samurai, I guess? Or did they say exactly what you are? Whatever. You play as a Japan.
Yeah, you're playing as some sort of assassin who has the ability to deflect bullets in slow-mo. It's if you get hit once, you're dead. You get to rewind from that death to the start of the level. It's going to be, again, very precise, learning the level patterns and learning how you want to go through the level. It reminds me a lot of N+. So, just a much more stylized one with swords that are awesome. Also, Tea Brewing / Self-Help Simulator 2020.
Oh, Tea Brewing Simulator is... God, like, I don't even need to live in the real world anymore. If I can just make tea in video games.
No, this game looks great. Comes out, again, super soon. April 18th. This one is less than a month away.
Then they had a big slew of games that use Unreal Engine, I believe, because a lot of them used similar color palettes to other Unreal games that I have seen. And they look pretty cool. There are lots of different genres there. Lots of 3D action games.
Very excited about Rad, because anything with Tim Schafer getting his hands on stuff, I'm pretty excited about.
No pun intended.
Yeah, Rad looks pretty cool, and
Rad looks pretty... Rad?
Hey, okay, I wasn't gonna say it because they actually made the joke in the frickin' thing. But no, I really like the Okami vibe that I was getting from it, because as your character's walking around, all of a sudden all of these flowers and life is coming back to this desolate wasteland that you're put in. And that's really cool to me. I like that
It's cute.
take on it. Yeah.
And then something that was totally out of nowhere for me was, I'm sure lots of people, Blaster Master 02. Like, that came out of nowhere.
Yep.
I have not beaten Blaster Master 0 yet, but I'm definitely going back to it and beating it and then picking this game up because this one looks even more intense.
I never actually played the first Blaster Master.
You gotta. It's really, really well done.
I gotta be honest, the first time I heard about it, I was thinking, Blaster Master, isn't that like the old school, like, math edutainment game for, like, the PC back in, like, 92?
Oh, geez, I think I know what you're talking about.
Math Blaster.
Why does your brain go there?
Because I'm weird. Also, platforming in a car.
Yeah, that's what the original game was about on the NES.
Really?
Yeah. The first game, Blaster Master 0, that came out, a couple years ago, that is like a pseudo remake of the original Blaster Master. They've fleshed out a bunch of stuff. They added dialogue and whatnot, character stuff. But the first level is like the same.
No kidding. Yeah, like I said, I never actually played the first one that came out, so this is all news to me.
Yeah. And then right after that, they did the Stranger Things 3, the game.
Okay.
Which is so weird. It's like a demastered sort of thing off of a real life property, like a TV show or a movie kind of thing. And this one was weird when we first heard about it, like last year, but it looks really fun when they showed it in this presentation. Yeah. It's like a top-down, almost like a beat-em-up. It's isometric, actually, not top-down, isometric, and I don't know how else to describe it. You seem to be solving a few puzzles as well, and it's like co-op.
Zombies ate my neighbors. That's
what
I'm saying right now.
But isometric. How many times can I say that word?
Isometric.
No. Anyway, I've only watched the first season of Stranger Things. I've not watched the second, and then the third one's coming out soon. So I need to get all boned up on that series again before I start playing this game, which is fine with me.
New season comes out July 4th, same time as the game.
That's smart. I'm sure that's
Yeah.
what they're going to do with the new Marvel Ultimate Alliance game with the movie and stuff.
Well, and I think the new movie is coming out sometime late April.
Oh, damn, is it that soon?
Yeah, it's like the weekend after Easter.
Huh. Okay. Well, then that game's not coming out then. I did want to say, though, shout out to my homeboy Alan, working on the set of Stranger Things Season 3. He was slinging food and ice cream.
Cool.
So I hope I see some ice cream in this video game.
And then after Stranger Things 3, they kind of wind things down by going over the indie sale that they are currently having. A lot of cool games on this list. Wizards of Legend, I highly recommend. Keep Talking, Nobody Explodes. Definitely a fantastic game, especially to have kind of in a party. I think I talked about it before.
Yes.
A couple of the ones that I wanted to pick up, Sultan Sanctuary, Darkest Dungeon, Bloodstained, they've got some pretty cool games that they're taking a significant chunk out of price-wise.
Absolutely Bloodstained. Everyone buy that game. It is really good, and it's amazing that it was just a Kickstarter stretch goal and it could not have existed. It's really, really, really good. And then a big ol' surprise right at the end. Again, Zelda just surprising us in every presentation right at the end out of nowhere. We got Nintendo crossing over with the developers of Crypt of the Necrodancer to make Cadence of Hyrule.
Can we keep a counter going for every time they have a Legend of Zelda surprise announcement at the end of a video?
We're at 2.
Because I think, is it 2? I thought we were up to 3.
What's the third one?
I have no idea, but I wouldn't be surprised if I'm just forgetting about it.
Send us an email, folks.
Yeah.
So, Crypt of the Necrodancer is a rhythmic roguelite, I believe is the correct term. I don't remember. I'm sure somebody will yell at me and tell me that I'm using the wrong term.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I really liked the demo of Crypt of the Necrodancer that was on the Switch, and I didn't pick up the game just yet, but I'm definitely picking up Cadence of Hyrule. I love the music of Zelda.
No, this game looks really fun. I think it's a really smart play on something that is... I mean, the Zelda music is so iconic.
Yeah.
And so well known.
Yeah.
There's so many different variations and takes on it, which this game just that kind of stuff just breathes so much life into this game.
It's really interesting to see Nintendo doing this and allowing them to use their property to make a game like this too, because it reinforces that Nintendo embraces indie development.
Well, and I feel like this might be a bit of a test, because I feel like they've been testing the waters with sharing their IP in other areas.
Yeah,
as
definitely.
we've seen before.
I wanted to say how much I like the pixel art in this game. It's different than Crypt of the Necrodancer, where it's a bit more detailed in this game, Cadence of Hyrule. The sprites are a little more chunky, and it has a sort of Game Boy Advance feel to me, where it's just beyond the Super Nintendo.
That's a good way to put it. This feels like it's stepping up from the SNES to the Game Boy Advance.
Mm-hmm. The sprites are thicker and chunkier. Thick like Twintel.
Super chunky. They're also a lot shinier from what I was seeing.
Yeah. It has what was the game? Minish Cap. It has a Minish Cap aesthetic to it. So this came out of nowhere, and it's coming really soon. Spring 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So very soon. I'm picking this up day one, just like a whole bunch of other people are. I love how Nintendo is embracing indies, because a Nintendo console moving forward, you can always count that Nintendo will have Nintendo games and good indies. And I very much welcome that, because I am a bit estranged from a whole bunch of AAA games these days. You'll hear me complaining about this all the time. Last week we were talking about how, what was it? Collector's editions getting out of hand. That's part of the outrageous AAA market right now. Anyway, I don't want to get into that too much. But anyway, indies are the way to go, and companies like Nintendo, who are still treating the gaming industry as a gaming industry.
If we ever actually get to a point where we have a slower news week, we should do a coffee talk segment where we just talk about our thoughts on AAA versus indies versus how things are perceived and stuff like that.
I want to say that indies are like butter. That's a joke only for people who are like 25 and older. And also watched a whole bunch of American TV. Saturday Night Live.
I fill both of those categories.
So that does it for the news. Again, check out NintendoEverything.com for all of the news, all the week, all the days, all the hours of the days. These are a lot of words I'm throwing at you. So let's move on to additional DLC. Galen, I didn't put anything down because, wow, I forgot. Because, wow, I've been busy. So sorry, guys. I don't have DLC to recommend to you. But Galen's got me covered. Galen's got you covered. What you got, Galen?
This kind of goes off a little bit by what we were talking about the Labo earlier. Or one of the people who actually got a chance to get their hands-on experience with it was the YouTube channel Outside Extra. And this is a really good kind of casual conversation between two of the main people there, where they're just talking about, like, how does a game feel? Here's, like, did it seem off? You know, they actually really liked the resolution and they didn't have any problems with it. What do you think the lasting effects of it will be? And it's a very casual kind of hangout, chill, and tell me about this cool thing. It's like 10 minutes videos. You can skip around if you want to.
Cool. So check out our description for Galen's additional DLC. Now, let's move on to everyone's favorite segment, my favorite segment, Listener Mail. What, no song this week?
I actually have a song, and there are lyrics to it, too.
If you have an email and you want to tell Galen to stop singing, you can send that email to NintendoEverythingPod@gmail.com.
That email one more time is NintendoEverythingPod@gmail.com.
And your email might sound a little something like this.
Leanne writes, "Hi, I have another question for you guys. I just watched the Nindies Direct and was completely speechless when I saw the Zelda cross Crypt of the Necrodancer. And I started thinking, we've seen third-party crossovers with Nintendo franchises before, like Mario and Rabbids, but has there ever been a crossover of a Nintendo IP with an indie game? I can't think of any precedents. I feel like Smash Bros. Doesn't count, since its foundation as a series is crossing over with as many franchises as possible. Am I wrong here? Please tell me if I am, but Cadence of Hyrule sounds to me like the first true Nindie game in Nintendo X indie history."
Thank you, Leanne.
Yeah, thanks, Leanne.
Galen, you read those with so much more emotion than I do.
I feel very, very emotional for our listeners.
I'm just like, yeah, Leanne writes, Jason, Chris, they write, point here. Anyway, to answer her question, I think so. I can't think of a true Nintendo indie crossover, and I think that this is huge, especially for a company like Nintendo, who typically holds their IP very close to their heart.
And I was looking through and like trying to think of other crossovers that they've had in the past. The first ones that I was really remembering that really stuck out to me was in Soul Calibur 2, where you got to play as Link in a fighting game where it was a very special moment. Also, of course, we have games like Hyrule Warriors, where they take, again, Zelda. I'm actually kind of like seeing a trend here. Yeah, Hyrule Warriors, they put that game into not only another developer's hands, but also an entire different franchise that they've never even touched before. There are a lot of games that they've kind of stretched their IP with, but never into an indie game so bluntly as this one.
Yeah, so talking about indies specifically, this is the first Nintendo indie crossover. Unless anybody wants to correct us on this is all I could figure out. We've definitely seen costumes and whatnot added to indie games that are of Nintendo IP or something like that, but this is the first game. And of course, Smash Bros. Doesn't count. Smash Bros. Is its own thing in every regard possible.
Yeah, I would not consider Smash Bros. An indie by any sense in the word.
No, I don't think that Leanne is saying that, really. She's just talking about, like, crossover indie stuff. So, I mean, Smash Bros. Has indie characters in its game.
Yeah.
Shovel Knight. So thank you, Leanne, for writing in. Remember, if you want to be cool like her, you can write us an email at NintendoEverythingPod@gmail.com.
That email one more time is NintendoEverythingPod.com.
What?
Wait, what did I say? NintendoEverythingPod@gmail.com. Oh, it's late.
So stay tuned next week for the Nintendo Everything podcast. And always check out our website throughout the week. That's NintendoEverything.com for constant 24/7 updates on news. We also have a Twitter at NinEverything and a YouTube, youtube.com/NinEverything. Then you can talk to me on Twitter. That's at Oni_Dino. And you can check out my Instagram where I upload pictures of Kirby, cats, food, lately lots of food, at Oni__Dino and Galen.
And as always, you can follow me on Twitter at Mobius087. And also, if you are enjoying the two of us, we are still going strong on our personal Let's Play show, the Super Turbo Fighters. We're at the point where if you actually search for our name, you don't have to scroll down about 2 seconds until you find our videos. So
Yay.
I'm happy about that one.
Yay.
If you want to have links and updates for when those episodes come up, we actually have a Twitter on that too, which is at Super Turbo Fight. We've been pretty consistently coming out with episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at around noon Central US time. Come hang out with us a little bit more. It's always fun. We're still going through Resident Evil 2 remake right now.
And then we've got some Nintendo games that are going to be thrown into the mix very soon too.
Yeah. I'm thinking about throwing in an extra episode every now and again just to kind of like break up the monotony of these like longer series that we go through.
Yeah, absolutely.
So...
And remember, give us a rating, like, share, all that garbage, all that stupid stuff we have to say. And for everything Nintendo,
stay tuned to Nintendo Everything.
Bye-bye.
Kegman away!